You're about to listen to Enthusiastically Self-Employed, the podcast created for you as a coach, consultant, speaker, and/or author. I created this podcast for those of us who are enthusiastic about growing our business and learning along the way. My name is Brenda Meller, and I'm your host. Prior to becoming enthusiastically self-employed, I was a corporate marketer who always admired those who were self-employed. Through this podcast, I'll share my learnings and expert guest interviews with you. You'll learn business, marketing, and LinkedIn tips to help you as a solopreneur or small business owner. Remember to follow this show to get the newest podcast episodes loaded into your podcast player of choice. Now let's get started. Welcome back. In today's episode, I'm going to answer some questions from my community. These are questions that have either been emailed to me, sent to me in a direct message, and every now and again, I'll receive one of these through text. So what I try to do is whenever I receive questions about LinkedIn, think about, is there a way I can make content out of this? And oftentimes I'll have a video or a blog that already exists about that very question, because a lot of the questions are the same, but sometimes I don't have the answers yet, and I like to use them as content. So I'm going to actually do a dual feature here. I'm going to answer these questions in a podcast, and then I'm going to do a triple feature here. I'm going to answer these in the podcast first. I'm going to publish the questions and answers on a blog on my website. And then I'm also going to do a video for my YouTube channel because I have some goals on continuing to grow that content as well. At any rate, let's start with the questions. Now, I'm going to be removing their names and any personally identifying information. I want to make these anonymous. After the podcast episode publishes, I will be sending a link to these individuals, letting them know that I answered their question in the podcast. And I'll probably do the same for the blog and for the video as well. All right, so first question. The person emails me, Brenda, I'm currently taking real estate classes. I'm going to be taking my business in a different direction. Have you worked with real estate agents? I would love your top suggestions for marketing on LinkedIn. This is a really great question. And I'm often approached by people asking, do you have experience working with XYZ industry? And insert XYZ industry for any industry in the world. The analogy I like to use for this is similar to an auto mechanic. If you were to pull your car up to the garage, your car's making some weird noises, and you go up to the mechanic, and either he or she at the front desk, and you're saying, my car's having some problems. Even before you describe it, they've heard the sounds in the parking lot, and they're going to say, oh, it's your serpentine belt, or it's your whatchamajigget. I don't know cars, but I do know that mechanics know cars. And even if they haven't worked on your particular make, model, or model year, they understand how vehicles work and they understand the inner workings of engines. And there's a lot of commonalities there. So my approach to LinkedIn is the same way. So while I may not have worked with your exact industry, I have worked with a variety of different people trying to reach their intended target audience on LinkedIn. So in this case, I know this person is a pretty heavy LinkedIn user right now, and their industry is pretty heavily using LinkedIn. Now, in the case of real estate, this is shifting gears more into a consumer audience, but you know what consumers are? They're people. And do you know who's on LinkedIn? People. So our mindset when we open up LinkedIn, it's very much in an information-seeking, we're in work mode, but we're in an information-seeking mode when we go into the platform. Maybe we're looking for leads or connections or jobs, or we're looking to see who's responded to our posts and things like that, but we're in an information-seeking mode. It's almost like picking up your favorite business publication, like the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, whatever, and you're in this information-seeking mode. So think about it that way. Whereas when we go into some of these other sites, Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, we're more in the relaxing, sitting on our couch at home, scrolling through, seeing updates from our family and friends. I don't know about you, but I'm always a sucker for the dog video. There's this guy on Facebook who does sitting with shelter dogs, and I will just sit there and watch it for hours. It's just amazing. But at any rate, I digress. When I go into Facebook, I'm not in an information-seeking mode. And when I'm starting to be hit with business messages, I don't know about you, but I get a little annoyed, right? So just think about the mindset of your users on the platform. They're in this information-seeking mode, and try to tailor your content towards that. So have I worked with real estate agents? Actually, I have. I've worked with a few. They tend to spend more of their time on Facebook and Instagram than they do on LinkedIn. But I'm going to give this person the same advice I give all of them. There are people on LinkedIn, and there's a good likelihood that you will find clients by way of referral, word of mouth. And you want to make sure, above all, that your profile has been optimized so that it is built to speak to that ideal target audience. It's accurately describing the products and the services that you offer, and it's giving people a clear path to do business with you. Now, quick side note, I'm offering a upcoming masterclass, Refresh Your Profile on LinkedIn in 2026. It's going to be on Tuesday, June 23rd. I want to put the link in show notes here. You can also go to mellermarketing.com/refresh2026 for the information to register. Tickets are just $47 for this. And this will be 90 minutes of me instructing and also giving you a chance to get some profile feedback and some real-time Q&A from me as well. All right, so that was the first question. Second question, the person says, "Hi, Brenda, I got rid of LinkedIn Premium. I was only using the away message for the most part, not using anything else. And with as loaded I am right now with client work, I just don't think it's worth the money." Thoughts? Now, first of all, I want to say kudos to this person because they're at that point where they're up to their eyeballs in business and they can't take on any new work that's in here. So I love the fact that this person is evaluating investments and different expenses that they have for their business. And if they're not getting value out of it, they're thinking about cutting some of those investments or subscriptions in this case. And I always tell people that LinkedIn Premium, that was a term that was created by a marketer. I'm a marketer. I can speak on behalf of our people here. LinkedIn Premium, it makes it sound like it's a better version of LinkedIn, doesn't it? It's actually not. It's actually a version of LinkedIn that you get additional features added to it. So if you're not using those additional features, why are you throwing money at LinkedIn? And this person has identified that the only premium feature that they're really using was the away message, and they were dabbling that anyways, and they can't really take on any new work. So they're saying, hey, should I cancel it? I would say, yeah. It sounds like this person already knows they want to cancel it. They're just looking for the reassurance. If you're not actively using the premium features, and I'll summarize for you quickly the ones I think you get the most value out. I get the most value, and you probably will as well. The ability to see who's looked at your profile. There could be potential lead opportunities in there. The ability to add a note to every single invitation that you send. That's really good for relationship building. If you're active on LinkedIn and growing your network, I love that feature. I wish we didn't have to pay for it. They started charging us for premium for more than 3 personalized notes in a month. I don't agree with that, but I don't work for LinkedIn, right? You got to play in their sandbox. So the ability to add a note is a second. The away message is something that I really do enjoy using. It's very similar to an email out of office. And the way that it works is your first level connections, if they send you a direct message, they're going to get this bounce back, this away message from you. You'll only get it once every day. And that will be on the day that they message you. If you ever want to try this out, just send me a DM on LinkedIn and say, "Hi, Brenda, testing your away message." Totally fine. I'm always like, it makes me smile when people do this because I know that they're listening to my podcast and my advice. And feel free to borrow my language as well. If you do have LinkedIn Premium, you're allowed up to 300 characters. And I always like to tell people first, hi, this is a LinkedIn away message similar to an out of office. It's a LinkedIn Premium feature. So they know this is something that is in compliance with LinkedIn. It's not automation. It's not using any tools that are banned by terms of service on here. So I like to let them know. And that's pretty much it. You do get access to some additional things like in-mails, which I never use. Ask me why if you're interested. And also there's some other features, LinkedIn Learning, etc. But for the most part, that's what I get the value out of. And by the way, I'm using Premium Career, which is the lowest level, $40 per month. I am going to be trying out the all-in-one in the future, and I get a 2-month trial through one of my friends who has a contact at LinkedIn, so stay tuned to learn more about that. All right, so that was the second question about canceling premium. Yes, cancel it. And instead of throwing the money at LinkedIn, come and invest in me. This person actually is. She's periodically will book coaching sessions with me, and some of her work that she works with clients, she'll outsource to me as well. So thank you for your business. You know who you are. All right, third person sent me a screen capture of something they saw on LinkedIn. And it was a picture of 3 bodybuilders, and it was a promoted ad that they saw on their homepage feed. And the person's message says this: This image makes me want to throw up every time I see it on my LinkedIn feed. I don't want to see half-naked men in their underwear on a professional site. Is there a way I can stop this from coming to my feed? And is this really okay for LinkedIn? Now, in this case, I believe this was a person who was either doing some type of a fitness program or fitness supplements or something. So the men were like these ripped, muscular people, and they were wearing shorts, but they had nothing on from the waist up. And they're basically, she's saying half naked. Yeah, they were half naked. From the waist up, they were naked, showing this bodybuilding physique body. Now, she is a woman, and she's being targeted with these ads for bodybuilding men. So whether it was a supplement or a fitness program, it's not relevant to her. So what I told her is that there is a way that you can, these are promoted ads, and you can click on the 3 dots and you can say, I don't want to see this ad. You can also indicate to LinkedIn that this is either annoying or inappropriate, and then you can give it some reasons for that as well. You could block this ad so that it's not being shown to you ever again. But I think in this case, is this really okay for LinkedIn? This is an interesting question. This person is promoting a fitness business. I think some people do tend to see men from the waist up with no shirts on offensive. And I think I definitely understand that point. I think in this case, the ad was being mass targeted, or perhaps this person had their ad settings turned off, all their demographics and things like that. So they were just randomly being served ads. So there's a variety of different issues within here. And if you're feeling it's not okay for you to be seeing that in your homepage feed, I think that's more relevant than is it okay for LinkedIn to be serving it to you. I think if it's not relevant for you and if it's offensive to you, they should give us the ability to turn those off. And in this case, there's not a way that you can turn off ads like this, fitness ads with men without their shirts on, for example. You can shut off political content, but there's not a way that you can turn a category of ads that are being served to you off at this time. Now, maybe they'll change it in the future. Maybe somebody from LinkedIn will listen to this podcast and they'll go, yeah, we need to fix that. But at any rate, there is a couple things that you can do. You can report it as offensive. You can block the ad. You can tell LinkedIn you don't want to see it. So a couple different things. But thank you so much for reaching out and giving me the opportunity to answer that. All right. So that was 3 questions so far. We got 2 more to go. Next question. This is from a person who's actually a member of one of my communities. She's a member of my recipe program, I believe. And she says, so my podcast listeners spiked last week, like majorly for days upon days, and it still seems to be in that spike. I happened to check my email and find a LinkedIn notification that it was tagged in this post. And she gave me the link to the post in there. Now, I'll check with her. If she's okay with me sharing this, then I will share the post in show notes with you. But I always like to check for permission first. Okay. Now, the person goes on to say this was posted the day before the spike started. So she was tagged in a post the day before the spike started. I didn't know she was going to put me in a blog post. And this person was blogging on LinkedIn, basically saying, here are 5 podcasts that you should listen to. And I think she gave a little synopsis of each. So my client, my member, asked me the question, what would you do to capitalize on this? I probably should repost it, but what can I say? All right. So my response to her is, yeah, you definitely should capitalize this. And I think from both an etiquette standpoint, if people shine the spotlight on you and they give you a shout out, it's good etiquette to tell them thank you. But also from a marketing standpoint, let's ride the wave of this visibility and let's promote it a bit more. So the first thing I told her to do is to go to the post. And I said, if you haven't already done so, comment on the post to thank the person. And I would do a really thoughtful comment, maybe 1 to 2 sentences in there. And thank you so much. Really enjoy the podcast. If she hasn't already put the blurb in there, actually, even if she has, I would probably in your comment say, people can listen to my podcast for LinkedIn marketing tips and business tips if you're self-employed. I welcome you to come on over and maybe even drop your podcast landing page in the comments as well. Because people are lazy. I don't really think they are, but it's going to help you to remember this. People are lazy. If you're telling us about your podcast and I got to go into her blog and find your link, I may not click on it. But if you were to serve that up on a silver platter in the comments for me, there's a good chance I might click on it, especially if what your comment said explained the podcast and it was definitely in my area of interest, then I might click on it. Okay. So comment and thank the person and maybe add a little commentary. And I think it's perfectly fine to promote your podcast in the comment because she's already promoted you in the blog. So totally fine. So in the comment, I just mentioned include your podcast landing page or a link to your podcast on Apple, which is typically the most popular one. And if it was a long time ago, 2 months ago or so, I might still even do it, but try to do this as quickly as you can after the person has done the post. All right, next thing I said, you could repost with your thoughts to either your personal profile on LinkedIn, or if you have a company page for your podcast, you could do it as a repost with your thoughts to your podcast page. And I have a podcast landing page for my podcast, which is called Enthusiastically Self-Employed. And it creates another lane for you to post under so that you don't have to worry about that once a day posting rule for the algorithm. And you have a place to put all podcast related information. So if you haven't already set one up, definitely do. And then you can put your podcast information over there. And then what else? I said, include the link to your podcast landing page and tag the others that she mentioned. So if you're going to repost it to your podcast company page with your thoughts, thank the person and say shoutouts were given to myself plus, and then name the other people and their podcasts as well. And maybe connect with them, send them a direct message, invite them to comment on yours as well. Now, the good thing here is this was about 2 months ago. So if you hadn't done this yet, and now you're reposting it to your company page two months later, it creates another point in time opportunity for you to promote yourself and the other podcasters in the list. So I think this is a really brilliant marketing technique. All right. And then I also said, connect with the other women that were mentioned in the post, include a mention in your invitation about the original post. Just say we were all mentioned in Sarah Jones. It wasn't her name, but Sarah Jones's post about our podcast. Okay. And I did mention that I was going to be using this in a podcast episode. So I think she'll be okay with it, but I'm going to check with her first. Okay. Last question. I've actually gotten this from at least 3 people so far. LinkedIn is now giving us the ability to add a custom link into our top header card where you can charge people for coaching sessions. Now, the interesting thing about this is people are like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm like, this really isn't new. They tried something similar a few years back where they gave us the ability to add a custom link into our top header card. And at the time, this custom link, we could put anything in there. We could drive people to our website. We can drive them to our TidyCal or our booking page or Stripe page, whatever. We could send it anywhere that we wanted. And I believe at the time it was anyone could do this. You didn't have to have premium. You could do this, anyone could do it. And then they quietly started sunsetting this. And all of us in the LinkedIn training and coaching community heard about it, or we noticed it, and we were communicating with each other. And through trial and error, we figured out that if you went to edit it, it would go away. And if you didn't have it yet, you couldn't get it. So we were warning everybody, don't touch your custom link, leave it up in there. And then one day they all just disappeared. Fast forward, I don't know if it was 6 months or a year later, maybe even more time than that. Now LinkedIn's launching this feature and they're saying, hey, you can add this new link into your profile and it basically will allow you to book paid coaching sessions. And they're calling the button Get Advice From Me. And then you can link it to a paid page. I'm not 100% clear on how the feature works. I think you can set it up so it's through whatever account that you want to use. LinkedIn's not making any money off of it. But I just think it's really odd that they're marketing a feature that allows us to push people off of our profiles to a paid page to make money for our business rather. And why I think this is odd is I always think about LinkedIn as a business. Their goal as an organization is to increase their revenue, to drive more profitability, to give more to their shareholders or whatnot. And I always think about when I'm like, why does LinkedIn do this? I always say, follow the money. Where are they making money off of this feature? They're not making money off this feature. And it seems like this is a trial run. I'm gonna give a 2-pronged hypothesis on this. And the person that sent me the link just said, what do you think about this? First of all, I'm going to say go ahead and try it. And I believe they're rolling it out only to business premium. I could be mistaken on that, but I believe they're only rolling it out to business premium features. And if that's the case, then I guess it tends to be tied into, let me just double check real quick. Okay, yes. Here's the article. It says premium business subscribers will be able to offer one-to-one consultations from their LinkedIn profile, manage bookings inside the platform, take secure payments, and host video calls in the same place. The whole transaction lives where your prospects already are. No redirects, no third-party tools, no payment processors to set up separately. LinkedIn handles the infrastructure and takes none of the revenue. They are taking some of the revenue, and that's by way of premium subscriptions, because if you don't have a LinkedIn premium business subscription, you can't get access to the feature. So that's the first part of it. Where's the money? Follow the money from LinkedIn. They're making money from premium. They're trying to get more people to upgrade to premium to try this feature. The second part of my two-prong response to this is regarding the individual users on LinkedIn. And I come from a corporate marketing background. I am always thinking like a marketer. As someone who is self-employed and who specializes in LinkedIn, I talk to a lot of people, thousands of people every year who use LinkedIn. I sit in on coaching sessions with them. I deliver team training and go to conferences and do presentations on LinkedIn. And I know how people are using LinkedIn. And I know when there are sections of profiles that are not being read, and I know how to write things in a way that helps them to get read by the right people. I also know that there are certain areas and features on LinkedIn that I have identified as ads, and we just tend to ignore them. I think in this instance, if the first time someone sees this feature on your profile and they see that it says get advice from me, I think once people click on that, they're going to think that they're getting free advice from you, because we've become accustomed to getting free advice a lot of places that we go. Now, you might have them saying, oh gosh, $80 for a 30-minute session, and then clicking on the next page just out of curiosity. I don't think you're going to get a lot of clients for this. And you might say, Brenda, if I just get one client from this, $80, I'm paying $70 for premium a month, it'll be worth it. I would be surprised if you got one client per month from this. And I hope to be proven wrong. Maybe I will be proven wrong on this. I just don't think that this is something that people are going to use. And I think this is going to be a feature that LinkedIn's going to try for a while. They're doing a big marketing push behind it because I think they're trying to test out adding additional features into premium, business premium, and charging for them, which, by the way, I've been saying all along. You should be adding things in, not taking things away, right? Maybe they're finally listening to me. But at any rate, on my profile, I can embed links throughout other areas of my profile to have people do paid business with me. I can put it in my featured section. I can put a link inside my posts, periodically posting about it. I can put them in media inside my experience section. I can put it in my contact info. A variety of different ways that I could do it without putting it at the top of the profile. And I think it might be more effective. We'll see what happens and how that pans out. But at any rate, I just want to thank those individuals for reaching out and asking the LinkedIn questions of me. I do hope that you've enjoyed today's podcast. If you ever have any LinkedIn questions, I encourage you to email me at brenda@mellermarketing.com. If we are connected on LinkedIn, you can send me a direct message in there as well. And maybe your question will be featured in a future podcast also. With that said, I hope to see you on LinkedIn and have a wonderful day. Thanks so much for listening. Hey, if you're looking to learn more about marketing techniques to help to shape your business, whether you're self-employed or maybe you're a small business owner and just need to brush up on some different areas of marketing, I'm here to help you. I come from a corporate marketing background and I'm always weaving in really great marketing techniques into my business, and I like to teach those techniques to you. Join Marketing with Meller by going to mellermarketing.com/join. You can join for just $67 per month. What are you waiting for? Join today. mellermarketing.com/join.